after his 2018 arrest. Next at 6:30 on the 18th anniversary of the September 11 attacks, millions of Americans reflect on the day that changed the world forever. 18 years later, Ottumwa's educators, firefighters, and civilians tell us they haven't forgotten. Almost everyone has their own memories of the 9/11 terror attacks. Joshua Reynolds, a captain with the Ottumwa Fire Department, said he had just joined the fire service when the attacks shook our nation.
For me personally, when I saw the first building collapse, my first thought was obviously the casualties, and then my second thought was firefighter casualties.
Julissa Golick was a high school student in Chicago.
By the time the second plane hit, everybody was like already getting freaked out.
And Amber Sprouse, also a student on this day 18 years ago, was sitting in first period when she heard the news. Sprouse, now a social studies teacher at Ottumwa High School, says many of her students today were born after 9/11.
I did kind of a quick poll today in my classes. I only had one student that was born, and he, I think, was a month old when 9/11 happened. So sometimes as a teacher, we kind of forget, we assume our students also experienced this, because when I first started teaching, they did.
She relies on personal experiences to teach her students what has now become a very critical piece of our history.
I also share with them, I pull out some old newspapers that show some of the patriotism that was happening, because I think right now they don't see some of that patriotism in society, and they don't realize how frequent it was. There were flags everywhere. There were flags on windows, there were flags on cars, and students today aren't seeing that.
Each of these memories are different, but for many of us, one lesson remains.
Don't take your family for granted. Don't take your freedom for granted. And don't forget to tell your loved ones that you love them.
In Ottumwa, Beth Walden, KTVO News.